to Craft channel, and I'm going to dazzle into something that you guys have never seen me do before. What is that? That is what I call the female garment construction. Okay? Jockey Cetro is now available today, so I'm just going to do some funny stuff with this. I'm going to do some funny stuff with a female cut before she comes, and you're going to really enjoy this class. Just bet me. Don't mind my grammar level back there. Let's jump right in. Today I'm going to be taking you on what we call the pleated dress. Pleated dress. I'm beginning to sound like Auntie Jockey back there. Pleated dress. That's how we call it in Nigeria. Pleated dress with what? With a French dart. With anything joined. What I'm going to be cutting out for you today is going to be a combination of what I call a combo between pattern draft and freehand sketching or whatever. Okay, so without wasting time and without being too serious, we are going right to the board where we are going to see all the necessary, parameter, paparazzi measurement that we need to use to cut out all these patterns. So that by the time it stands on you or on your babes, your children, heads will be turning. Okay, what are the necessary measurements to take when you want to, you are talking of princess, you are talking of a pleated dress. You're talking of something, that means let me just use my church mind to sketch out something. That means you are talking of something, you have the neck which will slope down. Remember your neck will always slope down by just like about 1 inch, and you have your, you understand? You have your armhole this way, you have it coming down this way, you have it coming down this way. And this is just what you want to arrive at. Then you have your pleat somewhere here. You have this surely is your armhole. But underneath here you're going to have what we call your French dart. You're going to have your French dart. Almost like is the idea that is needed. Let's look at the measurement that is needed. AB. AB is the same thing as your shoulder. We need the shoulder measurement. It is the shoulder measurement that you start your design from. It is the shoulder measurement that you start your pattern cut out from. From the shoulder, once you have the shoulder, the next thing you should be talking about is what? Because this particular cut that I'm making, I'm trying to minimize the usage of my material. So I'm not going to do for a full-blown adult that has all these balls, under balls, this and that. I'm going to be using, what I'm going to be designing, I love using the word designing. What I'm going to be cutting out today is for my little baby girl. So I'm going to be using, instead of chest, she doesn't have a bust, she has chest. So I'm going to be using chest, AB, chest measurement. Then from the chest, it's very easy to cut. So just look at, in your mind, just take, okay, the first thing I will look at is my what? Is my shoulder. Okay, from my shoulder, what happens? I'm talking of my what? My armhole. So the next thing I'm going to be talking of is what? AH, my armhole. Immediately I get my armhole. In short, female clothing is the simplest of all. Immediately you get your armhole, you know that it's that region that you have the burst or you have the chest. For the children it is chest, for the adult it is bust. So what are we now talking about? You're already through with this. You have the armhole. Immediately you have the armhole and you cut it out like this. What's the next level? We are talking of either the arm length or the waist. Well, in this case, we are talking of gown. We are looking at gown. Since we are looking at gown, don't mind my drawing, just forget about this one. It's the pictorial representation that just matters. It's just an idea. If I'm talking about gown, then that means that I should be talking of what? My half length. Okay? So that means I need my half length. Then immediately I'm talking of my half length. Another thing you need to consider when it comes to half length, it is at that point of your half length that you will have your waist. Waistline. So you can see my beautiful waistline. Okay, so I'm going to say waistline. Okay, if I have my waistline, then what's the next thing I'm going to be talking about? You need to understand that there is need for what? From ear to ear, everything is what we call gown length. So I'm just going to say my gown length. Just look at it. I have my back, which is AB. I have my chest. I have my armhole. I have my my half length. I have my waistline. I have my gown length. Then the next thing we should be talking about what is the neck. what's the neck measurement that we are going to use? The neck measurement we are going to use here is very, very simple. Once I see the customer or once I see the girl that I'm making the stuff for, I'll just look at it. What's the distance between this point, the vertical and the horizontal? So you can see that fashion is very easy. Please, I would like to elaborate on this because it will make our cutout very easy. For people that do not like their clothes to be showing all the things that are not supposed to be seen, yeah, you understand what I mean? Then they love their clothes to be high cut. You just measure, very easy. Okay, from this, you won't measure from here because this is half of it. This other part you are seeing is the back. This part you are seeing is the front. So if it is the front, then you should just come and carry my tape rule. From here to here, I look at the diagonal, the vertical rather. I look at the vertical, I measure it. Then from here to here, I measure it. By the time I measure from here to here, and I know that I'm cutting on fold, I'm cutting on what? On fold. I will divide the horizontal by 2. For the vertical, I've already taken it from half from the front part, so I don't need to divide it by 2. I just know that this is what? This is for the vertical. Then this is for the horizontal. Hello? I am not going to bamboozle you with too much grammar. By the time we enter the cutting table, you will know that what? Fashion is the most easiest thing in life. All you just need is what? To be creative. So if I have all these measurements, forget about it, I'm not a female. If there is any measurement that is left unattended to, I will definitely put it there. But these are the basic measurements you need for a pleated gown. And remember, this pleat you are seeing here, you are the one that will determine the extent of your pleat based on the size of your material. If you have enough material, I will just continue to pleat it and pleat it very small. But if your fabric rather, don't mind me that I'm saying material. Material in Nigeria means fabric. If your fabric is what? If your fabric is not that much, then you should just reduce the extent of your pleat. And immediately you have that in mind, you are already good to go. You are very, very what? Good to go. Without wasting time, let me take you on how to measure the baby that I'm going to use. I'm going to use the baby of the house to measure so that you get how to do all this thing from start to finish. In case you are seeing this, please don't mind me. I just arrange anything that enters into my mind just on her. There's a huge difference when daddy and baby is at home. Okay, so don't expect something fantastic about the way I just dress a combination of different kind of color or lori-shirishi. Okay, as you have it, what are the measurement parameters we need to take? You need to get the shoulder. That is the starting point. Anytime you want to make this kind of stuff, just remember that Mr. Cetro said you need the shoulder to start from the shoulder. And the shoulder is what? The shoulder is size 10. The shoulder is 10 inches. The shoulder is 10 inches. Immediately you grab your shoulder. The next thing you should be talking of is the what? Is the armhole. Just look at the armhole. Follow my lead. Make sure you follow my lead. Immediately you look at the armhole. This armhole that you have here is 12. You have armhole 12. So I'm going to work with 12. When you divide the round armhole by 2, you have what? 6. So we are going to use armhole 6. So immediately we've gotten the armhole, we've gotten the back. What's the next thing? Remember this fact that immediately at this point of the armhole, that is where, can I say bust? No, doesn't have bust. It's chest that she has. So I'm going to work with the chest. So it's the chest measurement I'm going to take. You can see she's even smiling that I don't have burst. What I have is chest. Yes, what you have is chest. So all you just need to do here, please be very, very careful when you are measuring children. Don't waste your time. I have a measurement technique that I use. What you just do is take the tight measurement. Take their tight measurement. You will discover that the tight measurement for this my girl here is 20. The tight measurement. Just put a tip of your finger in between the tape rule to get the tight measurement. You discover that this is 20. So once you get the tight measurement, I'm coming. Once you have the tight measurement for the chest, please don't come and write 20 here, because if you write 20 here, that little girl will even slap you that, Dad, I don't know what you are doing. So what you are going to do, you're just going to add 3 inches to it. Add 3 inches to it. That will give you some degree of freedom. So you can add 3 inches to it, but remember that you also need to give space for in sewing allowance. So at the end of the day, you can just call it 24, so that, you know, by the time you have half inch here, half inch at the other side, just look at it here, you have a half inch allowance, half inch allowance. It will boil down to the 23 that you are supposed to have there, because that 3 will give it a degree of freedom. So you can just check it out. Imagine that I made this, because me, I love Pleated. I don't like sewing clothes for children, and it's like you want them to be using it for the next 27 years. So look at it. Look at how it's going to be. It's going to be fitted. It's going to be just fitted like this. The thing we just looked at is, you've gotten the back, you've gotten the armhole, you've gotten the chest. What's the next thing to look out for in your baby is what is the half length. You discover what the particular clothes I'm putting on for her, she's gone past this size, but it's just because I want to use this particular stuff to show you guys on how to arrive at a pleated dress that will make your baby very happy with you. So all you just need to do is to pick your tape roll, put it at the highest point of the shoulder, then run it down to get your what we call half length. To always be on the safer side in getting your half length, just know that your half length is 2 inches. Before the navel. The navel of this, my babe, is very, very fantastic. So the navel is around 12, so I will take the half length at 10. So the half length is going to be 10. So we come here, we say half length is 10. Then the next thing we are looking for is what? Waist. Please do note this, that there is no time. In Benin they say egero. There is no time to say that there is no time. Immediately you get to this point, to the half length, just put your hand there. It is that half length point that will inform your waistline for a dress, a pleated dress, because that pleat will take care of all the rishi. For those of you that do not understand this, what I'm speaking is different things. That's the meaning of rishi in Nigeria. Okay, so you just take your waistline there. You can see the waistline of this, my baby girl, is 22. The waistline is 22. So I'll just make it 22. The waist measurement is 22. Sorry, that means I need to put my waist. You can see what I told you, because I'm not a female. The waist is what? 22. What is the waistline? The waistline is going to be the same thing as the what? The waistline is where the waist starts from. In this case, it's going to be the same thing as my what? As my half length. It's going to be the same thing as my half length. So I purposely want to clear that with you. Waist, round waist is 22, but waistline is from what? From the shoulder of your customer. In case you are measuring for an adult, from the shoulder of your customer to where the waist starts, to where the person places her skirt. From the shoulder to the listen, that's where you have the waistline, so that you can use that to curve that, curve that side very well. Then there is something you need to get, what I call the gown length. In this measurement paparazzi, please note that the gown length is very, very, very vital. To get your gown length, this is what you just need to do. Locate the peak point of the shoulder, and trace it down all the way down to your customer or your baby's knee point. That's 24. We're having, okay, let me look at it very well. I think we're having 23 and a half. 23 and a half is the gown length that we are going to use. Gown length 23.5 inches. Okay? Now, the question is this. You remember I mentioned something about neck. Getting a perfect neck for your gown or for whatever you're making is as simple as ABC. Look at this point. Look at this point. This is the joining point between the back and the front. It is at this point, the middle point here. Oh, it's tickling my baby. It is at this point here. Yeah, just hold on. Just hold on. It is at this point here. You put your tape rule. Just bring it down. Bring it down. You can see what we are measuring there. We are measuring 2.5 from here. 2.5. Please don't go to 3. 3 will be too long for babies. 2.5, that's the vertical. Then the horizontal is going to be gotten from, you're going to get that from the back. Just look at it. What am I saying there? That's 5. Divide 5 into 2. What do you have? 2.5. So what you are going to use is 2.5 by 2.5. 2.5 by 2.5. It's going to come down by 2.5 and it's going to what? Be extended horizontally by 2.5. You get your perfect neck, you get your origin and you trace out. So right now we are going to jump right into the cutting center where I will combine the pattern and the direct cutout on fabric. So let that the back is 10 inches and for the back to be 10 inches. Since we are going to be cutting on fold, we are going to do what? Divide this back into 2. We are going to divide this back into 2. That will give us what? 5. So we come to the cutting table. Let's start our work on the cutting table. So we come to the cutting table. Now on this cutting table, what are we going to do? Let us pretend that this happens to be your fabric that you are using in cutting out your pattern or your design for your customer. Once you fold it this way, the first question you must solve in your mind is that whenever there is a fold this way, the part that is open-ended, is always for the what? For the sleeve. It's always for the sleeve. That's where you cut out your armhole. That's where you cut out your paparazzi stuff. But this side that is on what? That is on fold here. This side that is having a closed end, is always for your neck. Why? Because your neck, there is no joining at the neck. So once you have that in mind, the next question you ask yourself is what determines the extent of my fold? Oh yeah? What is the factor that determines the extent of my fold? What determines the extent of my fold is the largest part of my measurement. Let's go back to the board. Getting to the board, let's look at which of these, my measurement, is the largest. Oh, can it be the shoulder? No. That means it's the chest, 24. Is there any other part that is bigger than 24? No. That means it is the chest that determines here. So we come back to the cutting table. We say, okay, if the chest is 24, that means the chest that is 24, we are talking of the round chest now, the whole circumference. So what are we going to divide it into? The front will take 2 parts. The back will take 2 parts. That means what we are going to divide by is what? Is 4. So divide 24 by 4. What are we going to have? We are going to have 6. So what determines the extent of my fold is that my chest, which is just what? 6. So with that, I will not be tricked into wasting customers' fabric. So you have your 6 here. Okay, since 6 is the maximum, I'll just give some level of freedom, some degree of freedom. Let's just say 8. So I love to always create allowance for female skirts. You know, female usually they have so many things that I cannot say. So many things to take care of from one point to the other. You just have to be shaping and shaping and shaping. So we are taking this as our origin. If this is our origin, I believe this is a very perfect straight line. If it's not straight, just do this. So from here, from here downward is my playground. So what is the first measurement parameter to consider? The first measurement parameter to consider will be my back. And since my back is 10, divide it by 2, I have 5. So what I will just come to do is to say 5. Your shoulders zoom, see that? Okay. Is to say 5. So 5 inches. So this is my shoulder here. 5 inches. Now, if I have my shoulder at 5 inches, immediately I know where my shoulder is coming from, is starting from. Then exactly at that shoulder point, something should happen. That is where my sleeve length is supposed to start from. That is where my what? My Immediately I know where my shoulder point is located. That is where my armhole is going to start from. So the next thing to do is what? To carve out, to get out my armhole. How do I get this my armhole? Remember, the armhole that we are using is what? From our measurement board is what? Look at it here. The round armhole is 12. We divided by 2 to have 6 inches. So what I'm going to measure from here to here is what? Is supposed to be 6 inches. But please let me tell you something. In fashion, whenever you are cutting the armhole of your clothes can destroy everything that you are going to do. So don't cut at exactly 6, because the round armhole is 12. So therefore, if you are cutting, just don't start at that exact 6. Just minus half. Start your cut at, let's say, 5.5. So what I will just do is to join this to the upper part. I will just link this up. Once I have this, the next thing to do is to have this. Immediately we've arrived at our armhole position this way. Once we've arrived at our armhole position this way, then the next thing we need to look at is what? The chest measurement. We should just measure out the chest. You remember that the chest measurement for the small girl was 24. Now 24 divided by 4 will give us 6. So I'll just come to this armhole. So I'll just come to this armhole point and measure out the 26 for the chest. I'll measure out the 26 for the chest. So I have this in place. This is the point for the chest. Then the next thing we should ask ourselves is, what about the neck region? Remember I told you that the neck is going to be 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. So you just come here and measure 2.5 inches. By 2.5 inches. But I'm actually going to take 2 and cutter here. So once I have this, the next thing to do is to join the vertical and the horizontal points together. With these, I have arrived at my neck region. This is my armhole. This is my chest. This is my chest point, which is otherwise for mature adults, they call it bust point. Then the next thing I should consider is my what? My top to half length. So I'm going to be looking at my half length. So where is my half length going to be from here? What's the measurement for the half length that we got? the measurement for the half length that we got was 10. So just pin it out there, 10. Then, if you are new to, what's it called? Sewing, please take note of this. If you are new to fashion, if you're just coming new into fashion, you need to take note of this. Once I have this point, it's just to assist me to join the 3 points together. This is my what? This is my half length. This half length position that you've got in here, please note that it is on this half length that you are going to also have your what? Your waistline. Because any other part that is remaining is going to be where we are going to have the pleat. So we are going to cut the upper part separate, and we are going to cut the pleated part separate. Later, we'll join the upper part and the lower part together. Are we okay with that? Okay, so most of the time, to hide the secret of the joining of the upper and the lower part, that is where it comes in handy to add a what? A belt. But now look at, remember I mentioned the fact that this my pleated dress, look at what I wrote out there, pleated dress with French dart. Pleated dress with French dart. Okay. Why I'm putting this up for us is for us to note something. Let's come back to the drawing board. If I say my half length is 10, and I just remain at that point that is 10, and I'm introducing that here. Remember, anytime you introduce that into any measurement, that measurement automatically reduces. Anytime you introduce that in between a particular measurement, the dart eats up part of that measurement. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say, fine, this being my half length, I need to add whatever amount of inches that I'm using as my dart. So let's put into consideration our dart. Let's measure between here and here. What do we have? We have 4.5 between the armhole and the what? Between the armhole and the half length, we have 4.5. So if we are going to introduce that here, it will be nice to just put our dart. You know, normally the French dart for female, for matured female, is usually within the region of 2.5 and 3, depending on the size of the person you are making your clothes for. So, based on the fact that this is just my little baby that I'm just trying to color some fine design for, what I'm going to use here, I'm going to allow my dart to just be around 1.5. Let's say it will be around here. It should be around 1.5, or I can say 1.75. Let me just stay at 1.75. So this is where my dart line is going to be mapped out. But remember, if it's an adult you are cutting out this for, your dart should be around 3. So, with that being said, there is something you need to take note of. If the armhole cut starts from here, you should send a signal to us that this is the largest point of our cut. And from here, that means there will be a shaping in. So I would like to start my calculation of the dart from here. I would like to start the calculation of my dart from here. So that's why I just want to just have this at the back of my mind. Okay, so I will extend this horizontal line. Let me just extend this horizontal line. Okay? Once I extend this horizontal line, fine. Now we can start. Now, the dart I'm going to take, for this my little baby, I'll just take half-inch dart. Half-inch dart. From here to here, will give me my half-inch. So what I will just do is place this my tape rule in such a way that the center of that half-inch is on the line. So what I will have is here and here. So these 2 points are what I'm going to now attach to the center here. But what is the length of the dart that I'm going to be using? For an adult, you can use as much as 1.4 or what have you. But for this, my baby, I'm just going to do a small, because by the time we start cutting, by the time you start sewing, you still taking like half inch in. So all I just want to do for this my little baby is to make my dart start at this point. I would just like to have it at 2 1/4. 2 1/4. So what am I going to do? I'm going to link. I'm going to make my dart come from here. You are at liberty to choose what you want for yourself. Some might not want French dart. Some might just want the normal dart. So, I have my dart at this point. That means I'm going to shrink in half-inch. This shrinking in of the half-inch here, the shrinking in of this half-inch here, will reduce the top to half-length position of my dress. So I need to add back what I've deducted from here. I need to add it back to this point. So what I'm going to do is to say the half length will be extended by half inch. Don't mind me. By half inch. I went to night school. And then they don't speak good English. So this is now going to be my half length. This is what I'm going to cut on. And the next thing is to say, fine. We have this stated out. We have this for the neck. We have this for the armhole. We have this for the French dart. We have this for the new waistline, otherwise the half length. So what is the waist measure? The waist measure we took was 22. So 22 divided by 4. 22 divided by 4. What is that going to give us? 22 divided by 4. Let me quickly do that. So 22 divided by 4 will give us 5.5. 22 divided by 4 will give us 5.5. If 22 divided by 4 will give us 5.5, then what we just need to do is to take cognizance of the fact that we are still going to have sewing allowance to that, unless you want to say it is that you are cutting on pattern. But if you are cutting out on your fabric, you should just add that sewing allowance. So let me just put that here, 5.5. So you are going to join this part, you link it to this point, you link the armhole to this point. That's good. But before you do that, remember I told you that the shoulder is not always straight. See the shoulder from here. The shoulder is here. Remember I told you that the shoulder is not always straight. From the neck, upper part of the neck, you need to slope the shoulder downward. So how do we slope the shoulder downward? Remember that this is your shoulder here, which is 5. So in sloping it downward, you need to make it slope down by 1 inch. for adult baby, I will not make it up to 1 inch. I might just slope it by, let's say, 1 3/4 or half. But let me just slope it by 1 3/4. So with 1 3/4 slope, this is what I will arrive at. With 1 3/4 slope, I have the shoulder this way. So the next thing for me to do is to what? To arrive at my joining. This is the armhole position. I will just trace this out. To give me this curve. Trace this out. Because I always love, even when I'm making male clothing, I always love this shape, this kind of petal shape. So as I've just connected it here. So then the next thing we need to get is what? Our neck cut. Let me just try to use the curve tool. Let me see if the curve tool will give me what I want. I think this curve tool will definitely give me the kind of neck that I want. So I'm going to go with this. This will give me the kind of neck I want. Okay. So if this has given me the kind of neck I want, then the next thing is, what about the armhole? The armhole might not give me what I want, so I'm just going to use my freehand sketch. Correct. So this is what I want for the armhole. Then the next thing to do is what? To start my cutting out all the different stuffs, as if it's more that I'm cutting. So just like that. We've cut out our pattern this way. Once we have arrived at this, the next thing we need to just do is to do what? Have it out this way. So this is how your pattern comes out. This is the front panel. This is the front. You can see what I'm saying. By the time you are sewing in this way, come in. Can you see what I'm just talking about? By the time you are sewing in, this will come in and it will be showing like as if there is a bust there. To be as if there is a bust there. That's exactly the kind of, the kind of shakara thing that I want for female cuts. Had it been that is an adult now, you will see it. It will just be like this. And you now know there is another trick that if you now combine it with another dart, another dart coming from down, you just intend as if there is a bust there, even when we know that there is no bust in my little baby stuff. So, hola, we have the front. What's the next thing to do? Okay, immediately we've arrived at our front panel, this beautiful front panel with this beautiful French dart here. Then the next thing to get the back is very easy. Just place it on the. All you just need to do is place it on your folded fabric or your folded pattern paper. Just fold it here, place it here rather. Then you remember the next thing is what? The zipper. You make allowance for the zipper. So most of the time I prefer using 1.5 so that it takes care of the zip allowance and it takes care of some other provision for extension. So what I will just do is this.
I will just mark 1.5 here, 1.5 here. So I will just make sure, don't mind me, that's how women do. So just have it this way. Immediately you have that. The next thing is to trace out the remaining part of the cut this way. I hope you can follow me. Then you just trace out the pattern for the front panel on the back panel. You have this slant here for the shoulder. Then there is something you need to take cognizance of here, because normally you are supposed to have this straight line here. You're supposed to have this straight line here, and you know that this wideness remains the same for both, but the only difference is what is the length. The front neck is usually down. The front neck usually goes down than the back neck. Why? Unless what you are constructing for, unless the design you are making is for what we call in Nigeria the Igbo blouse. That's when the front and the back will be the same. But if it is not the regular Igbo blouse, you know, the back of the clothes is usually higher than the front. So what I will just do here is to measure. So what I will just do here is to say, remember the neck, the front neck is 2.5, comes down by 2.5, but the back is not going to be as that low. So I might just say, instead of 2.5, let me just work with 1 and quarter, 1 and quarter, or 1 and half, depending on how low I want it to be. Okay, let me just play around with 1 and quarter, or let me play around with 1 and half. So with 1 and half, what I will just do is simple, just trace it down this way. So what I'll just have is this slope. My cutout will be this way, based on the kind of design I want for my clothing. So I'll just have it this way. That's the 4-corner back. I'm having a slightly skewed back here, then horizontal. But remember, look at this part. If I come here and I also mark that at the back, oh, that means that tailor is a farmer, not a tailor, not a fashion designer. I'm going to close this end here, because at the back you do not need any dart at the back. You do not need the French dart at the back. So with this, the only thing remaining for me is to just cut out. But please remember that this your extension, we have to go this way. Remember this, please take note of that. This is your extension, we have to go this way, because this is your zip allowance. So you have it up to this point. This is what I call your zip allowance. Okay? So you just cut out. So we have our front panel and our back panel this way, but you know that this part is your what? Is your zipper. So you just take this part in this way. Take this part in this way. you have this front and back. By the time you open this up, you have this. By the time you open this up, you know you're going to take this in. So you have your front and back ready to go. And by the time you place them on each other, voila, your perfect seam is ready. Your perfect sewing class is ready. So you remember what I was trying to say there, that the back is always not as low as the front. So you have the front, you have the back. Okay, with that being said, that means the upper part of your what? Of your pleated dress with French darts is ready. The next thing to do is what? To get the lower part. The lower part is the easiest of all. In the sense that in this lower part, all you just need to know is your what? Your waist and the gown length. Your waist measurement and the what? And the gown length. Then what you now do is what? You calculate what is the length of the top. The top length that we are working with is what? Is 10. Based on our calculation, the top length, the half length is 10. The half length is 10. But the total length for the gown length is what? 23 and half. 23 and half. So if you are working with 23 and half, the next thing we should just do is to get our pattern paper. Just get it out. Measure 23 and half minus 10. 23 and half minus 10. When you measure 23 and half minus 10, that will give you 13 and half. So you just come, this is 13 and half here. 13 and half here. But you remember something, that at the tail of the skirt, you need to do what? You need to turn in. You need to turn it up. So you can just add half inch to it. So that will give you 14. So from here to here is 14. So I'll just mark that point, 14. I'll just mark my 14 here. This is 14. What's the next thing to talk about is the waist. What's the waist measure? The waist measurement that we are working with is what? 22. But let me quickly state this. Now, whenever you are working on a dress like this, or what we call gown, you've done the upper part. The upper part is already done with. We are now talking of the lower part. And the lower part is pleated. Based on the fact that the lower part is pleated, you need to get your what? Your round waist. What's the round waist in this particular scenario that we are looking at? The waist is 22. But you're not going to cut out waist 22 because remember, you are going to pleat. And by the time you are going to pleat, depending on how much of the pleat you need on that lower part, you can use up to 1 yard just for that pleat. You can even use up to, what is it called? 1.5, depending on the pleat, the number of pleats that you want to make. So in this scenario, I'm going to add like 16 to that 22. I'm going to add 16 to 22 because I want it to be well pleated. I want it to be well pleated. So that waist, 22, I'm going to add 16 to it. By the time I add 16 to that waist 22, that will give me like 38. Instead of working with waist 22, I will end up working with what? Waist 38 because I'm adding 16 to it. So that extra 16 is to take care of the what? Of the number of pleats that I'm going to introduce into it. So let's get started. In this part, you remember I told you the fact that I'm going to be combining pattern with direct cut out on your fabric. With this, I will just come here and measure 38 waist. I want to get out my waistline here. Waistline here is 38. So once I have my 38 here up to this point, that's fine by me. The next thing is to what? To get out the, let me just notch this point. Just notch this point. So from this point that I have notched, the next thing I'm going to look at is my what? The remaining part of the gown length. What did we measure as the remaining part of the gown length? That's 14. 14. So I'll just have my 14 here. So I have my 14 at this point. So what I'm going to work with is from here to here. That's my 14. So I'll also come to the middle. I'll measure out my 14 because I need to get an equidistant placement or point. This 14. Of the gown this way. Remember, waist 38, which is against waist 22. So I've added 16 more inches to the waistline, so that by the time I begin to, don't mind this, with the use of iron, all this one will be gotten out. So that by the time I begin to pleat, it will boil down to that my 22. So let's start the pleating now. You're going to need a pin here. So as you pleat, you measure. That's just how these parts roll. So if you are looking at this, by the time you pleat, you will just be pleating around, and as you're pleating, you measure. Once you discover that it's up to the waist, once you discover that after pleating around, you'll be checking it against waist 22. Once is to that waist 22, you can just like add a quarter or half. You can make it 22 and half, so that these parts, the front and the back, it creates that part, it creates allowance for you to join the front and the back part of the lower distance together. So, hola, you have it this way. It's already looking pleated. Because of time, I will not be able to finish up with this pleating, pleating it round. So once it's pleated out this way, and you've already checked against waist 22, the next thing for you to do is to just bring out your pattern. You know the pattern is for example, the pattern is for this upper part. By the time you pleat it this way, this is what you're going to have. This is what you're going to definitely have. You're going to have it around this way. It will be a form of gown. And the trick, the tailor's trick here is that you don't just allow everybody to just know that this is a gown that starts joining this way. What you just do is to probably cut out like a belt or a kind of band-like design to cover up this joining part. Either you affix a belt there to cover up this joined parts to create some design. But before I leave the class today, I would like to tell you something that will make these clothes look beautifully well. It's not always good. I see people, they will just make everything, all their designs from head to toe is just the same Ankara pattern design. No. The best way you can do what I call infusion. And in creating that infusion, or what some people can call blocking, color blocking, or what have you, or material blocking, all I will just do is, okay, fine, I want only this part. I want half of my front part to have this design, and the remaining half to have a plain black. I tell you, it will command more respect, and that is exactly what I just want to show you in this training video. So all you just need to do is to come here. You know, this is just the front. It's just the front that we want to create this beautiful pattern with. All you just need to do is trace it out. Trace this out. Remember that once you've taken your dart, the length of your stuff has shortened. That's why we have this extension. Okay? So you just with this. And for those of you that loves your children's wear to have more allowance, remember that this is an opportunity for you to add whatever extra allowance you want to add, since we are using pattern to cut out. So you can just extend it by the level of allowance you want to create there. So we embark on cutting it out now. At this point, what we'll just do is to cut out. Something here. Remember that when we were cutting out this part, with your pattern, normally you are supposed to add sewing allowance here, because you are going to join two different parts together. Please take note of this so that you don't make same mistake. You need to add what? Sewing allowance. Maybe you just add a quarter inch this side, and this other side you add quarter inch. Let me show you what I mean by that. Once you have your plain fabric that is going to be joined to this, you just place it on the reverse. So this is what you have on the reverse. So instead of just saying placing it here, no, you shift it a bit to the back. This is half. I'm going to use half in this example. So you can just place it this way. This one will take care of the sewing allowance, and in case your customer needs to make some further adjustments, so you just have it this way. You have your trace out this way. here we are. You remember that I said ½ inch here will be taken in. So you have that your ½ inch taken in this way. So this is what you have for the front panel. This is what you have for the front panel of your gown, and this is the remaining parts. So here we are. This is what you are going to have at the end of the day. You are going to have one part of the upper part in plain cut material. So this adds more beauty to your work. Instead of just having everything to be totally the Ankara pattern design. So with this, we've come to the end of our class for pleated dress with French dart. Somebody should ask me this question. That we did not put that here. So please just do that on your own. Please note that at the end of the day, this is what you are going to be having. After taking in the seam allowance for the joining at the center, this is what you're going to arrive at. Your dart well placed, and voila, you have this side just plain black, and this side this. Then in some other aspects, you can have the whole side totally plain black, and this side we have the Ankara embellishment. So, okay, okay, I want to believe that I've been able to bamboozle you into this my little shakara design for my baby. Huh? If this my training is interesting to you, and if you think you've learned something from the class of today, so if you think this class of mine is interesting to you and you've been able to pick up 1 or 2 lessons from what I've just done today, please do 2 things for me. Like my video and share.